We're at a time where the government, the coalition, has lost its majority. And an awful lot of times when that happens, you're like, well, obviously, there could be a general election very soon, but we're going into the summer recess. We do know that politicians like Nessa Horgan and Patrick Costello have lost the whip. And Joe McHugh, they're going to vote with the government. So it's not at such a... But the mind does go to, well, a general election could be closer than we thought, than in 2025. And when you ran in the last general, you had a fantastic outcome, you know, getting so many TDs through, 37 out of 42 candidates, with 17 brand new candidates that you had last time in the general election. Do you think that you're ready, with so many new people involved in politics, to take on the leadership of the country? And right now, are you taking the time with candidates that could be running in the next general election to kind of train them up? Because there is training involved in this job.
We're absolutely ready. I think, you know, there's a team there of us that have been there for quite a longer time. And then there's new candidates. But I think that anybody who looks at the likes of Claire Curran, who was elected as a first-time candidate there 2 years ago, absolutely performing out her skin, ready to be a minister in the morning, would do a far better job in terms of social protection, or indeed Mairead Farrell from Galway. And there's many, many more like that. So, look, we made a mistake in the last general election. We didn't run enough candidates, you know, but we're not going to make that mistake the next time. And
but some missteps, you know, the shouting of the up the ra, stuff like that, kind of leaning into other things, some issues with some candidates, what they were saying online, and like quite virulent things online on Facebook that you're like, you can't be saying stuff like that. You know, just little mistakes. Is that something that you're trying to get more discipline into the party with brand new candidates?
It's not that. It's like, look, we're focused on what's happening in real people's lives. On the ground, people are going through a massive cost of living crisis. Before we had a cost of living crisis, we have a housing crisis that are still there. So Sinn Féin are rooted in our communities. We understand where people are at. We're not out of touch compared to this government. And we're bringing forward solutions and policies that can change things for the better. And people are seeing that. So we did well in the last general election. And you can see in every single opinion poll since, our support continues to grow. Now, we take none of that for granted. We need to know, we know that we need to continue our constituency work. We need to continue offering solutions. We need to continue offering hope, because we're doing a series of public meetings out there, and there's a lot of people who don't have hope. And I can understand that, given what's going on with this government. But there is hope there, because change is coming, and the government, you know, clubbed together, Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, the old rivals clubbed together to keep Sinn Féin out. But that can only happen for so long, in my view.
But what are this government... What more can they do? I mean, they've moved the budget ahead. They've moved it up to 6.5%, which is unprecedented, breaking their 5% rule. You know, they are throwing money at this. Really, like, what else can they do? Like, where else can they get the money to help people?
First of all, we should have a budget this week. So they moved the budget by 14 days because of pressure from Sinn Féin.
But do you worry that things were only at the eye of the storm, that things could get a lot worse going into wintertime?
That we don't know how much things are going to cost in 5 months' time.
Yeah, well, look, we've made it clear, and because the way gas and energy is priced in the international market and purchased, it is going to get worse. The autumn is going to see pricing
increases. So to have a budget at this stage, we might have to have another budget in 4 months' time.
Well, we have a scheduled budget anyway, always in October, which will deal with the later part of the year and next year. But you asked, you know, can things get worse? For people at this point in time, they're in crisis mode. You know, we see it in terms of the reports. There's another report out this morning. Inflation is going to peak at over 10%, the central bank tells us. What does those numbers mean? People don't really need those reports or those numbers, which doesn't mean much to families, because they're seeing it every day. They're seeing it if they're driving down the road and have to fill petrol and diesel in the car.
Everybody sees it.
But there is a responsibility in government to act, to protect. So the central bank, the Irish Fiscal Advisory Council, the ESRI are all saying the government could do more. The resources are there. A budget should be introduced now.